Welcome to the Move with Tank podcast with your host, Dr. Michael Tancini. He is a doctor of physical therapy, owner of Ground to Overhead Physical Therapy, a strength and conditioning coach, former college athlete, four-time CrossFit regional athlete, and a national level Olympic weightlifter. On the show, he will cover ways for active individuals and athletes, just like you, to stay healthy and improve their performance without the need of surgery, injections, and pain medication. If you ever have any questions for Dr. Tancini, which you would like answered, send over an email or message through Instagram at drtank_DPT. So without further ado, here's your host, Dr. Tank.
What's up, everybody? Dr. Tank, Dr. Tancini here with another Move with Tank podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I've got a connection through a friend on. It's a connection through actually another PT I've known for quite some time who's in the cardiopulmonary world and connected me up with a local coach in the area. And man, I'm super pumped to bring on Joey Souza and to chat about some of the obstacles and some of the way he's been helping athletes overcome those obstacles, especially as COVID's been getting back in, or COVID's been letting down a little bit, and athletes have been getting back in the gym. So, Joey, man, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk a little bit and unpack this.
Yeah, man, definitely. So, sweet. Well, man, how are you holding up through the pandemic? I mean, what we're 16 months in now or 17 months in, whatever the heck it is. And how have you held up?
Yeah. It's been a journey. It's crazy to think about how long it's been already. It's encouraging to see some progress now, things getting back to some normalcy, which is really nice. But it was tough for a while. Just life-wise was difficult, I'm sure, for everybody. I got married very early on in COVID, which is a change up. So I was supposed to be in June, and we just kind of called an audible and did it in April of last year. So that was pretty crazy, but good. It ended up for the best. And kind of on the training world, I was with Orange Theory Fitness coaching up until about that March when everything happened. And of course, they just had to lay everybody off, which was pretty tough. I mean, I was really loving that. And I hadn't been with them too long before I had to lay off of that. Picked up some different things along the way. So, and then just personally, fitness wise, I mean, it was hard. We had just moved into an apartment. I had to get into my little apartment gym, which had probably about a little weight rack with some 10s, 20s, and 30s maybe, and one little free weight rack, and then a treadmill. So I had to work with that. But it was tough. Probably did more outdoor running than I'd ever done before, just because that was about all there was to do. So I never was really a huge fan of running, but I started to fall in love with it a little bit when it first hit. So
nice. Yeah. That's man. That's the struggle that everybody went through, right? Gyms closed down. We're not able to then go to the gyms.
Yeah.
Luckily, the previous year I built out a home gym. So I was a year ahead of the curve.
There you go.
And so that was nice, the fact that I could keep on training. But everybody that I worked with, right, they were just locked out of their gym. Even apartment gyms were shutting down. And, and a lot of people took up running, and a lot of people took up Peloton.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, but yeah, man. So do you plan on doing any races, or was it just something that you kind of got into and then went back to your normal thing after?
Yeah. Good question. I don't see myself, I did collegiate track and field at UNC, and I was a sprinter and a jumper. So my VO2 max is very low. I get out there and I'm definitely, you can see I'm a sprinter because I run for about 3 minutes and I'm already out of breath, about to die. So I'm building it up still. I don't see any distance races in my future until maybe I'm really itching at that additive bug in that realm maybe. But I'm getting into HIIT training myself. I'd never really been into that world, so I'm really loving that. And then still trying to lift and keep that rolling is really where I'm at. Yeah, I'm itching the competitive bug with, hopefully at this point, kind of some rec league competitions, things like that. I'm a big sand volleyball guy. But
sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet, man. That's awesome. So what year were you at Chapel?
So I got there at 2015, graduated 2019. So yeah, I came, grew up in California. So I was fortunate enough to get recruited. They said they'd pay for my school. So I was like, all right, I'll make the move. Central Valley, so like Fresno, Bakersfield area, the big agriculture belt. Yeah, the boring part. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, they love the beaches, the mountains. Yeah, I didn't live anywhere there. So,
So man, I lived in San Diego for 10 months. It's actually where I started my practice.
That's awesome. Beautiful area.
It is, man. But it's like I tell people, it's a great place to visit. But like as nice as it was, man, you could not pay me to move back. So yeah, but, man, that's awesome. So like we just missed each other over at Chapel Hill. So let's see, I graduated undergrad there in 13. And then let's see, but I've been kind of around the Chapel Hill area or the Triangle kind of since then, minus 10 months and being out in San Diego. But were you like an 800 meter guy?
Oh gosh, no, that's even way too long. No, I was a long jumper as my primary event. So jumping into the sandbox, if anybody knows that. And then I was kind of an alternate on like the sprint relays. I was a sprinter, but not really. It kind of just helped me in my jumping. So that's why they trained me as a sprinter, but mostly the jumping. Yep.
Sweet, man. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about like, how'd you go down the journey to like get to where you're at now, being a coach over at Burn?
Yeah, good question. So like I said, and I'm fairly new in the whole training world relatively, right? Obviously, athletics and fitness has always been something I've been into. Graduated with my exercise sports science degree, so it's kind of a world I've always been interested in. In one of my undergrad classes, I had the general manager for Orange Theory come in and speak. And that was kind of the first time I heard about the world of group fitness. And it was super interesting. I loved the idea of personal training, but on a group kind of scale, So I kind of started doing some research into obviously getting my personal training license, I think my junior year of college. So I went ahead and got that through ACE. And I initially started pursuing Orange Theory as starting my personal training career, which was awesome. I got on with them, got some awesome training. I think Orange Theory is a really cool organization, really cool platform. But ultimately, COVID happened, got laid off from that position, just I think 90% of other coaches, And so I pursued some other things, non-fitness related, just to kind of get the bills paid, And then I really wanted to get back into it just a few months ago when things started opening back up. Some of the studios were reopening. So I did get back on with Orange Theory. That would have been probably about 5 months ago now. And I was excited to get back into the coaching world, and I was loving it. My wife at the time had started attending Burn. So she became a member at Burn Bootcamp quite a while ago. And she would pull me to some of the camps here and there. And it's different from Orange Theory in that, Orange Theory isn't classified as HIIT workouts. Burn Bootcamp is more of a HIIT interval type training, and it was new to me, man. It was doing Division I sports. Practices are tough. Practices are real hard, but it's just a different kind of hard. You get in there for 45 minutes and you're just like going the whole 45 minutes, So it was difficult, but it was real fun. I loved it. So at that point, I loved my position at Orange Theory too. I thought it was a great gym, great studio, but an opportunity opened up. The owner of the South Durham one, Kip, had reached out and just said, hey, we're looking for some trainers, as is every gym right now. And it happened to work really well with other things I was doing in life too. And I already knew that I had been to a number of camps, and I really loved the community feel and also just the build of what the workouts had. So I was like, you know what, I might as well, check it out and give it a shot. So I gave it a little test run, and I realized that, man, it is a unique community, a unique gym to be a part of. And I just loved it. I loved the members. I loved the workout. The mission behind Burn is awesome. So I was roped in very quickly. And that was about 2 months ago. So I'm pretty new. I'm learning a whole lot still about Burn Bootcamp and what it's trying to do, but I'm loving it. It's an awesome model, and I think they're doing really good things.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So what else do you do outside of Burn?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, it's definitely one of my biggest passions, but it's not my main career goal. My main career path is real estate. So I'm a realtor here in the Triangle area. So I love working with people to buy and sell property. Also kind of a crazy time just to be doing that as well. Yes. So both worlds, fitness training and real estate, are both just abnormally crazy areas to be in right now, but I love them both. Yeah, they're awesome. So that's what I spend a lot of my time doing as well.
Are you in the commercial or more in the residential?
Residential for sure. Yep. That's my passion. The commercial is it's more numbers than I kind of want to deal with.
Gotcha.
Residential, you're building those relationships, those connections. You're getting to know a family. You're getting to know the kids, what they want to do with their home. That's what I love. So yeah. And then that's why I love personal training too. I mean, building those relationships, being able to get down with somebody and figure out why they're doing it and how I can help them get there. It's the same reason I love that as well. So.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. And I like from the short time we've been talking, like you come off as a super positive person and like just like a huge positive vibe about you. And like that's pretty much like when I meet people from Burn, we were chatting prior to the show, but like for everybody else, I work in ground overhead PT, works with multiple burns around the triangle. And man, everybody that you meet is super energetic, super positive. People who go there are awesome. The owners are awesome. The coaches are awesome. And you must fit right in there.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I do really love it. Again, it's just a unique community. It's an awesome group of people to be involved with, people who want to push in every aspect, other coaches that want to push other coaches. I'm learning a lot in terms of how to build a program, how to just communicate with different members, and then just the kind of members that you get to know around this area are just so awesome. You know, they have a genuine desire to want to get to know me as a person, as opposed to just come in, get their 45 minutes of work in and get out, which is just, it's invaluable. It's awesome. It makes the job worth doing for sure.
That's awesome. So how's it compare at Burn to like Orange Theory, like the vibe?
Yeah, that's a good question. In terms of, and again, this is not knocking on either one. Again, I love Orange Theory. I just think it's a different model, different setup. Obviously, the workout's different, right? I think it pertains to just two different communities of people. Each is very valuable. I think the vibe wise, right? It's just the way it's set up. All Burn studios are all super open concepts versus Orange Theory. You have the studio, which is separate from the main lobby, right? So even in that, I think, get more of a transparent kind of, we're all here for the whole time kind of vibe, and I think that alone creates more of a kind of conversational base around Burn. People are coming in early, they're talking it up, they're putting the work in, and they stay after and talk it up, and I think aside from that, just creating even more of an environment of joy and positivity of being in the gym, which I think a lot of people connotate the gym with negative thoughts, maybe it helps reverse that. And I think one of the biggest burnouts of working out and being in a gym and being consistent is that you don't have anybody there doing it with you. You don't have any accountability, especially with big box, kind of you just go in and do your own thing. Almost no accountability. And I've been working out for a lot of my life, and I still struggle to go in and do my own thing, right? Unless I have a coach or a buddy or somebody I go in there with. If it's just me, shoot, I'm sitting on my phone. I might do a couple reps and then I'm sitting there for 20 minutes or so. So it's like you come into Burn and you have people there. You have people conversating, getting to know you. And that gets you coming back. We have members that we encourage everybody. They have each other's number. They know if they're signed up for camp, and they'll be texting you if you're not there. So it's just it creates accountability. There's a really big vibe of community and joy, like around the gym itself. I have a lot of members that I talk to. I was like, "Why are you here?" And they're like, well, I mean, one, I want to get in shape, but two, it's like, this is like my happy place. Like I come here like home, I got my kids, I got my family. Not that they're not happy. I'm sure they have families happy, but this is a place where they have friends. They get work in, they feel growth. And I think just that idea of switching that view of a gym being something negative, it's a hassle, it's a burden in my schedule, to, wow, this is a time where I can connect with people. This is a time where I can get growth, feel positive about myself, and then feel connected with the community. It's just that I feel like that's what I've noticed about Burn, which is cool. And you get that with Orange Theory, right? You get that, but I just think the model kind of pertains more to maybe transitory people, or it's kind of more get in, grind, and get out, which is, if that's what you want to do, boom, that's awesome too. But yeah, that's kind of what I picked up on.
That's awesome. And the whole community aspect of a gym is so crucial, right? So look at the COVID-19 pandemic. It's essentially like brought a big light on the importance of mental health and the importance of community and the importance of being able to see your friends every day and interact with them, talk with them and work out with them. And like the gym's the one place to where, especially like a place like Burn, to where you go in, it's like everybody's friends. No one is like judging what other people are doing, right? It's like Planet Fitness puts out their like no judgment zone or judgment.
Right.
But like really like Burn a boot camp, right, is going there and no one's judging anybody. Like everyone's in there to better themselves, to be positive, to hang out with their friends and make the best of the person that they want to be. So, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So sweet, man. Well, now, so like you've had to have seen or come across some of the issues that people have been having with getting back in the gym, right? Because you started back at Orange Theory about 5 months ago and then got over and burned over at South Durham. And like, what are some of the biggest struggles that athletes have faced, which you've seen as they've been trying to get back in?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of different barriers that I've personally been seeing. I mean, one of the biggest ones is just the kind of overall feeling safe. And a lot of individuals, rightly so, or just should they come back to an in-person gym? Should they be around other people in that close of an environment? So that's a big barrier I've seen for a lot of people. We're starting to see people getting looser with that, right? More people coming back in. But that was a huge thing, obviously. And it's encouraging to see more people returning back to group fitness and things like that, especially to see how it plays such a big part in a lot of people's lives. A lot of people said, obviously, Peloton and things like that, virtual live classes were a big thing, but I just don't think it really compares to people who really benefit from that in-person group fitness, So that was a big barrier, obviously. In addition to that, I think a lot of people got comfortable with the schedule of being at home, not having to go out. Maybe they got comfortable with in-home workouts or whatever they were doing in their garage. But ultimately, they know they want to get back to working out with other people, but it's just hard because it's not in their schedule. It's not in their routine. So having to like recondition, right, their schedule to fit something like this, recondition their body to like get up and get out. So a lot of people have had to fight that and battle that commitment issues or working that back into the schedule. And then in addition to that, I'd see just a lot of people genuinely didn't work out or exercise very much through COVID, for many reasons. Some people didn't have the ability to. Maybe they live in not the best area or not the best, they have an apartment, they don't have a garage, whatever it is, or it's just hard. It's just hard to work out when you don't have anybody pushing you, like we talked about earlier. So the mental aspect of, well, shoot, like, how do I even get back to doing physical activity? Like they're scared of, I haven't done this in so long. Like it's hard coming back and you compare yourself maybe to even where you were before and you're way off of that mark. Right. And that can be, I've seen that be really mentally challenging for a lot of people. So I'd say those are some of the three biggest factors, just the safety area of not feeling safe, to logistically figuring out how to get that back into the schedule when that hasn't been part of the schedule in so long. And then mentally, like overcoming those challenges of, I haven't worked out in so long. How do I overcome these maybe doubts or fear of getting back into this physical activity routine, So that's kind of what I've seen, I feel like, in the past 5 months with members kind of trying to get back to it.
Gotcha, man. Yeah. So, the safety, I think, is big on everybody's mind. And hopefully people are seeing now that being at the gym is a safe place, because gyms just aren't spreaders of this COVID-19, especially now. And health and wellness and our ability to build a robust body physically is one of the things that helps us stay healthy and more resilient to things like COVID-19. And then you look at, the schedule piece. And you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
No.
Oh man, you definitely need to. I'm reading.
I'm writing it down right now. What was it again?
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits.
I'm blanking on the guy's name. Let me see here. I'll pull it up for you. But dude, it's an amazing book. And the author actually lived here for a short stint in Chapel Hill, which is his name's James Clear. Oh, that's it. He's working with someone now who used to work out with him, like back in 2013. And he was telling me a story about this guy. So this guy wrote this book on habits, and one of the things that he talked about in the book was habits are a big about cueing, right? So like maybe it isn't like the habit that's the actual habit. Maybe it's the trigger associated with the habit, which then gets the person to do the habit. What I saw like working with people like pre-pandemic into the shutdown, and then as they started to come out, was their trigger for going to the gym was the ability to leave work and have a place to go, so that they could. The trigger was to leave work, get in their car, and like automatically it jump starts them into going to work out.
Yeah,
like they didn't even have to think about it. That itself was
right.
Then you take away this trigger of people being able to actually go someplace and like leave work, because now they're at home, so they're always so they never actually leave, so they never actually get that trigger of needing to actually work out. And that's a barrier that I've seen going through. And then as people have come back out of it, and as people have gotten back into work, they actually have, it seems like, less time in their day outside of work, but they're actually finding the time now to get back to the gym, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that is big, because you think of these when you're in just at home. It's just like you, especially with work, there's nothing that's breaking your day up, and you don't have what you would have normally, the schedule of things. You're going from place to place, you're doing thing to thing. I feel like the pandemic kind of just blended all these things, and there's this work to life balance obviously is all distorted, and that feeds into so many other things like exercise that just gets pushed to the side because we lose almost sense of time and almost sense of like urgency with our days just being home. That's interesting. Yeah, that's true.
Hey man, so now how have you been helping people like get back in after like 15 months? Like when people haven't done anything, kind of like you said, and they show back up at Burn and they're like, I'm here. I haven't worked out in over a year, but I'm back. How do you as the coach and the trainer go into helping them?
Yeah. Well, I think so. From some of the barriers we talked about, the safety thing, the logistical thing, those two, as the trainer can't do a whole lot on those two aspects. They can encourage the logistical thing, maybe give them some tips and stuff. But ultimately, my job starts when they get to the gym. My goal is to make them feel safe, to make them feel encouraged, and then to give them something they can practically do. And making them feel safe, I think, starts right when they obviously walk in that door, right? So this is something that I know Burn really pushes, most gyms do, but I just think it's super important just on a personal level of like, somebody walks in that door, you make eye contact with them and you smile at them, and ultimately right there, they feel welcome. And that breaks down a lot of walls that have been built up by themselves, that you don't know where these people are coming from. They may be coming from, abusive households, just their own. Maybe they may be alone at home, and it took every bit of muscle just to get them into their car, into that gym. So they don't want to be there, right? They may be coming from a bad day at work or whatever it is, but they walk through that door and they make eye contact with somebody and they see a smile, and it breaks down a bunch of walls, right? And that gives me the ability to, at that point, have a conversation and start to see why they're there. So I think making them feel safe is one thing that I've tried to do to overcome some of these mental walls and mental barriers. And that's not even COVID specific. I think that's just life, but there's a lot more of those walls, I think, that have been built up due to COVID. So I think that's something that I try to be intentional. From there, a lot of people have been, communicating, like I said, they're nervous to start back up exercising because they just haven't done anything in so long. And to that, one thing I say is that group exercise can also be intimidating, in the sense you have a handful of people that are extremely fit. And a big mistake that a lot of people make with group fitness is they compare themselves to ex-athlete who has been coming to Burn for 6 years and can do a handstand push-up when they're walking in, they haven't worked out in 15 months and they can barely even do high knees or something. So whatever it is, they compare themselves. So at that point, I try to encourage them, give yourself grace. This is a process. of getting back into physical activity. Nobody here, maybe some people, the majority of people coming to Burn and most group fitness aren't Division I athletes. We're not training for a huge event. We're training for life. Like our goal is overall longevity, right? So give yourself grace. Let's work back into this idea of physical activity slowly. And my job is to make one workout for the whole group. But at that point, individualize the exercises for what you need, right? So encouraging them that I'm going to demo some exercises that you may not feel comfortable doing, or your initial thought may be, whoa, I can't do that. But my job is to encourage them that, hey, I'm going to give you the modification. I'm going to give you the best option for you and your body and your fitness level. And that does not mean that you're less than everybody. And it just means that's what you need for a good workout, So I try to encourage them in that. That's my next, is to try to, it can be overwhelming sometimes. But then 3, accountability. So I try to connect them with somebody. I encourage them to meet everybody at the gym, get somebody's number, make a personal connection with somebody that's outside of this 45 minutes. Because that's what's going to get you to come back tomorrow. I can do my job really well. I can be a great coach. I can make you feel happy inside and everything. But you're going to leave this gym. Honestly, you're probably going to forget about me. Maybe not. Maybe you'll think about me. But you're probably not going to come back just because of me. Because there's a lot of great coaches out there. And the turnover rate for people who go to the gyms are still very low. So the thing that's going to make that difference is you making a personal connection with somebody at this gym right now. And so I encourage them to do that. Try to connect them with somebody that's there, that's consistent, and just get them in the habit of, text this person, let them know you're coming. I'll set up a time. I'm going to come at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And even if they check in or not, if you told somebody you're coming at 7 a.m., there's a higher rate that you're going to come, So I don't know. Those are some of the things that I have tried to start doing for people, because those walls have been put up, that doubt has been put in their mind, and accountability just isn't there. So I'm trying to fight that a little bit.
Man, that's awesome. Man, I love it what you're doing, getting people to interact with other people in the gym, right? Other people in the boot camp. And that's so crucial for not only mental health, right? But for someone to get the full benefits of the community, which is Burn Boot Camp. And humans are tribal in nature, right? So we are meant to be a part of a tribe. And when people go to some place like Burn, it's intimidating. Any of these group fitness places, especially a high intensity place, and whether someone comes out and says it outright, but they're a little bit scared, right? I'm intimidated. They're like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. Look at that lady over there. She's, 5 years older than me, and she's running circles around me. And but you as the trainer and the coach, taking that step and trying to help these people make these personal connections and break down the barriers of maybe some fear, anxiety, and just build a better group tribal feeling, man, it's got to pay off dividends for everyone that you work with.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. So now what about, have you ever, so with people's egos, people's egos are one of the biggest things. And there's an awesome book. If you haven't read it, it's called Ego is the Enemy. Ryan Holiday, amazing book, highly recommend it. And how do you reel someone back in, someone who hasn't worked out in 15 months? And they're like, oh, I was doing this prior. I'm going to jump straight back in and do the same thing now. How do you talk that person off the edge right there?
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way, right? I hate the fact I look at maybe what I used to squat or whatever it was, and if I was to try to lift that weight right now, I'd probably throw my back out. So it hurts to look at yourself and see that this pandemic or life or whatever it is, you maybe can't do the same thing. But we try to think that we can, right? And I'm always confident that I can do the same exact thing that I used to do or did before the pandemic or whatever it was. And the reality is that it's just not safe. It's really detrimental on the body when you're trying to push it to do things that just one hasn't even done in months and months and months. Movements and patterns that maybe we knew like the back of our hand, like it was a natural for us to do a snatch because we just did so many. And now we try to do a snatch and we can't even get our body to move that way. They're just movements. They're things that our body just has forgotten how to do. And trying to just jump right back into that is just really not safe. And I think I've experienced some of that too. I tore my ACL a few years ago, and I was fine up until